Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth and today we're making this quilt block. It's a scrappy quilt block. It looks exactly like a disappearing hourglass, but it has nothing to do with disappearing or hourglass. It just looks exactly the same. I wanted to make mine scrappy, so I got some 2.5-inch strips out of my 2.5-inch strip drawer. This is where I put leftover binding strips. And what I need 4 strips that are 4.5 inches by 2.5. So I chose 4 different scraps out of my drawer, and I'll be cutting them 4.5 inches long. I also have 8 2.5-inch squares. So if you want to see the other video where I made this in 2 colors, it'll be in the description box. I also need 8 2.5-inch squares that are white, and I need 2 squares that are 4.5 inches, and then 2 colorful squares that are 4.5 inches. And I realized after I got started that I missed another element to this block, and that is 4 bars that are 2.5 by 4.5, but you'll see that in just a minute. I'm going to get started making this block, and then I'm going to realize, oops, I forgot to cut those. So I'm going to start with my 4 patch using 2 of my colorful squares and 2 of the white squares. This is where I realized that I needed some more elements to this block, so I cut 4 strips 2.5 by 4.5, and all of this will be down in the description box. Before sewing anything together, I arranged my pieces around that little 4 patch. I have my colorful bars sort of radiating out from the white squares, and then I have my white bars radiating out or next to the colorful squares. And I took the rest of my colorful squares and I put one on each of the ends of my white bars. I then added white squares to the colorful bars there. Now I'm going to sew some diagonal lines, and I want to imagine my lines beginning where the 2 bars come together, sort of pointing out from that seam that will be between the colorful bar and the white bar. And I'll be sewing lines, and then I will also sew a second line so that I can harvest some half square triangles from my leftovers, because I'll be trimming those triangles away. So before I trim, I'm going to sew a second line sort of about 1/2 inch away from my first line, not quite 1/2 inch, and then I will cut between my 2 seams, and I'll have a half square triangle ready for another project. After getting all of those squares attached, I sewed the two pieces together. After pressing, I tried to press towards the darker fabric so those seams would nestle together. And next I'm going to be working on the 4 outside corners of this block. So I'm going to take my 2 colorful squares and I will set them next to the white bars, and then I'll take the 2 white squares and set them next to the colorful bars and add squares to each of the outside corners, the white on the colorful squares and the colorful little squares on the white larger 4.5-inch squares. And I'll add a seam corner to corner, and again I'm going to add that second seam so that I can have that leftover half square triangle. When all my little pieces are complete, I can join them and make this beautiful, scrappy, fun block that looks just like a disappearing hourglass. But like I said, we did not use an hourglass to make it, but it comes out to look just like that. This is a really pretty block using scraps, and if you stay a little bit longer, I'm going to try making the same block scrappy using some of my plaids. Someone mentioned that that might look nice, so I thought, you know what, I want to try that too. So if you'd like to stick around, I'm going to sew one together using a whole lot of plaids. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.